Good morning, dear student. I hope you can see the screen. So today we will discuss another chapter in biology, that is sustainable management of natural resources. Okay. So before beginning the chapter, let's understand the meaning of each word. So what is the meaning of natural resource? Can anyone tell? What is the meaning of natural resources?
The resource which obtained from the nature.
Exactly. Example, can you give? You of the
Coal, iron, coal.
Minerals, water,
water,
air.
air, forest, land, isn't it? So these are all the examples of natural resources. So anything that is present naturally in our atmosphere or in our environment is called as natural resources. Examples is water, forest, coal, petroleum, land, forest. Okay, these are all the examples. Next, you should know management. So what is the meaning of management or sustainable management? Sustainable management means we have to use these natural resources in a controlled way. That means you're not supposed to use in an unlimited way. How much we require, that much only we are supposed to use. Otherwise, what happens? If you use unlimitedly in one fine day, what may happen? If we carelessly use this, one fine day, these natural resources may finish off, isn't it? After the generation may not get the natural resources, pure water they may not get, or charcoal, petroleum products they may not get, or the land, if we pollute everything, they may not get the land. So sustainable management of natural resources means how we can manage the natural resources in a controlled way so that it will be available for each and everyone for a longer duration of time. So all about this we are studying in this chapter. Okay. So how does this concept came into existence? How the government or the people thought that we have to maintain our natural resource? So one of the best example to start this natural resources management is the Ganga Action Plan. You may be heard about the Ganga River, isn't it? The sacred river in India. So, and you also heard that once upon a time it got or waste product has been uh, dumped into the Ganga river and it was so much polluted such that nobody can use the water. Okay. So once the government considered this issue and they have taken this very seriously and thought that we have to form a rule that is called as Ganga Action Plan, and it has happened in the year of 1985. So the government thought there is the importance of cleaning of this Ganga river because it became such that nobody can drink or use this water. That much it has got polluted. So how they came to know that the water has been polluted means when they take the water sample from the Ganga river and they tested, they found one bacteria that is called as coliform bacteria. So coliform bacteria usually present in the human intestine and it will be excreted through the fecal matter. Okay. So the people started to throw their wastage or sewage wastages into the Ganga river, or they start to, or industrial purpose, they start to dump their waste into the Ganga river. And sometime what happens in the village people, they excrete in the river side, so that water flowed into the Ganga river and it become highly polluted. So by many ways, this Ganga river has become polluted, and the government understood that has been polluted. And when they take the water sample and they test it, the large number of coliform bacteria in the water. So this indicates the water has reached its highest level of pollution. So to avoid this, what the government has did, they introduced a law or a action plan called as the Ganga Action Plan in the year of 1985. So according to that, they have formed strict rules and regulation, and they start up the cleaning process. So now the Ganga river is very clean and water can be used for the purpose. So then what they did, once they confirm, how they government can confirm this, the river water is again pure. So again they have to collect water sample from the Ganga river and again do the test for the presence of coliform bacteria. If the level is considerably less in the water, then you can consider the water is now in purified form. So it's the first process that has comes under the sustainable management of natural resources. So next you should study about the 5 R's. These 5 R's, it is important to manage our natural resources. If anyone follows these 5 R's, then definitely they can contribute to saving of the natural resources. So what are these 5 R's? Refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. So let's see what is each one of them. So refuse. Can anybody tell?
We should not buy extra things which are not needed for us.
Correct. And one more thing, you may heard that, say no to plastic or refuse the plastic. Famous quote. So isn't it, now every shopping mall or smart malls, they give the things or groceries in the paper bag instead of the plastic bags or the cloth bag, isn't it? So the main purpose is to say no to plastic or say the things that is made up of plastic. So instead of going in a bare hand to a shopping mall or a grocery shop, we can take our own cloth bag or a paper bag. So otherwise what they will do, they will give the things in the plastic bag. So thereby you can say no to plastic, and considerably you can decrease the usage of plastic, especially the single-use plastics. They are very dangerous to our environment because they do not undergo decomposition at all. So next R is reduce. So whenever it is possible, reduce the usage of natural resources. So when we are not at home or when you are not at your school, always switch off the tube lights, fans, or when you are not or reduce the usage of water. So wherever it is possible to reduce the usage of natural resource, we can utilize it. So thereby one can save the usage of natural resources to a large extent. So electricity is also important because electricity is generated from water, isn't it? So if you reduce the electricity usage, indirectly you can save the water. So few of the example you can write. So you have to write reduce means what, and few of the example you are supposed to give. Next one is reuse. So what is this? Reuse means
We can use the water again and again, use twice.
Okay, that can be one example. Or another example, if you, for example, you have bought a chocolate, large number of chocolate in a big plastic container. Okay, once this chocolate you have ate up everything and the container got empty, then you need not to throw into the environment. Instead of that, you can fill some other things. You can fill mustard or anything, or any toys. So whatever, you can fill it and reuse the same container rather than throwing into the environment. Okay, especially the plastic bottle or jam bottle. This, I think each one of us do this, isn't it? Most of the time. Or if you bring a Coca-Cola bottle, we drink and we will wash and we will use to refill the water, isn't it? We can use it as water bottle instead of buying another new water bottle. So something like this, you can reuse the container or the bottles rather than throwing into the environment. Next R is repurpose. So what is the repurpose meaning? Use the thing for another purpose. For example, if you take any crockery items, that is or cups, mug, okay, by chance if it fall down and the coffee mugs, its handle has broke down, so rather than throwing into the environment, you can make it as a flower pot, or you can make it as a pen stand, or you can broke down into small pieces and stick together, and you can make it as a coffee cup pad. So something like that you can use for another purpose. So coffee mug is usually, its purpose is to drink the coffee, but somehow it handle got damaged, or it has fall down from your hand and it has become small pieces. Then you can't use for the purpose, that is the drinking of coffee. Rather than you can use in for another purpose. Understood? So that is the meaning of repurpose. Next, last R is recycle. So in recycle, what usually we do, whatever the things is considered as unwanted will be recycled and can be reused. You may heard the people will collect the plastic materials or the books from the garbage, and they will undergo the process of recycle. And in the market you can see recycled chappals or recycled papers, isn't it? So many things are available. Recycled carpet, okay. So many things are available that has been undergone the process recycle. So plastic, paper, glass, metal items can be recycled. So few of the example you're supposed to give. So these are about the 5 R's. So refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. So what is their meaning, and 1 or 2 examples for each R you are supposed to know. So now in this 5R, reuse and recycle. So which one is better? Reuse is good one or recycle is best?
Reuse.
Reuse. Why?
Because recycle needs some energy.
Yeah, recycles needs some energy, and also it requires money, because recycle purpose sometimes requires some type of machines, isn't it? So that requires energy, that requires money, that requires manpower. So many things it requires. So recycle is always costly compared to reuse. So it is always better to reuse the things rather than going for recycle. If there is no other option, then definitely we can go for recycle rather than throwing into the environment. So by following these 5 R's, one can definitely help for the management of natural resources. So they will ask this question, you should know. Next, sometime they will ask, what is the importance of management of these natural resources? So why there is so much importance to maintain our natural resources, or why do we need to manage our natural resources? Why it is so important? Because as all of us know, natural resources are limited. They are not available in unlimited quantity. So they are in a limited quantity. So we have to carefully use so that the next generation or future generation can have these natural resources. Then we have to use the natural resources so that it is equally available for each one of us, isn't it? It is not that rich people can use so much of natural resources where poor cannot. Or if you consider the caste, this caste can use whatever the natural resources in whatever the amount. No, not like that. This natural resources is available in the nature, so each and everyone should get it equally. So that we have to make sure we are not supposed to use in a unnecessary manner. Then to avoid the pollution and wastage. So if we manage or carefully if we use the natural resource, then automatically we can prevent its wastage as well as its pollution. So these are the few things that makes this management of natural resources very important. So first one is they are very limited. Natural resources are limited. Okay. So that it can be used by the next or future generation. Then natural resources is available naturally in the environment. So each one of us should equally utilize it. Next one is by managing the natural resources, we can avoid the pollution and its wastage. Okay. Hope you understood this much. Next is about the forest and wildlife. So forest, it is again one of the natural resource, isn't it? So can anybody tell what is forest? Simple definition is fine, or what you know that you can tell. What is the meaning of forest?
Forest is a group of trees in which the wild animals also live.
Yeah, correct. So whatever she told, we can call it as biodiversity. So forest is a place of biodiversity. Biodiversity is nothing but in one region where different species of plant and animal live. That region we call as biodiversity. So forest becomes definitely a biodiversity region. In the forest, you can see wide varieties of animals, birds, and also plant. So forest is a spot or region of biodiversity, and it becomes a main natural resource for the human beings. So it becomes very important to manage the forest and its wild life. So next you should know who are the stakeholders of forest. So what is the meaning of this stakeholders means? Right here they have mentioned. So stakeholders are nothing but the people who use the forest product. That is nothing but whatever available in the forest, most of the things we will use. So those who use this forest product, maybe a timber, maybe a medicine, maybe wood, these are all the forest product, isn't it? So those who use these forest products are called as stakeholders. So here it is. So there are 4 categories in this, or 4 types of stakeholders. First one is local people. Okay, local people. Local people. Second stakeholder is government, forest officials. Next one is industrialists. Last one is nature and wildlife enthusiasts. You can see here. Okay, so these 4 people are considered as stakeholders of forest. Nothing but they use the products from the forest. So let's see each one of this. So local people means people who are living in the forest or nearby the region of forest. Okay, so these people, what they do, they generally use wood, they can use, okay, or they can use the medicine, they can take the fruits that is available in the forest or nuts. So many things these people can use the forest. They use the forest as well as they will also contribute in protecting the forest. So but what happened means, when the British has arrived the India, what they made means, they made these local people to live in one restricted region. Otherwise, these people are scattered throughout the forest. For example, if you consider there is a forest of forest about, it is around 50 kilometer. Okay, that is a region. There was a forest and people used to live throughout this 50 kilometer, and the Britishers has come and they made these people to live in one just 1 kilometer region of forest. So within this limit only each person should live. So now what happens, within this 1 kilometer region, whatever the wood is there, whatever the medicine plants are there, or whatever the products of forest is there, these things will be used by the people. So what happens in this 1 kilometer region, gradually the forest products will be reduced, or indirectly you can tell they may lead to deforestation. So people will cut the tree, okay, and if they do not plant another, what happens, plant, there will be a deforestation. If these people are scattered in the region of this 50 kilometer forest, then what happens, from small area they will use the forest product rather than using in one single region. So these local people, in one way they will protect the forest, and in another way they also results in the deforestation, and it has mainly occurred when the British has arrived into the India. So one of the example I'll give how these local people protect the forest means, there was a community called Bishnoi community. Okay, Bishnoi community. So this Bishnoi community, people considered kejri trees. There was a tree called kejri. So it is considered as sacred tree. Okay, for those community. One second, kejri. Kejri trees. Bishnoi community. So Bishnoi community is the people, okay. So they considered this tree, that is Kejri tree, as a sacred tree, and it is this timber of this plant is very much useful for the usage of this furniture. Okay, usually the furniture will be produced from this Kejri tree. So when the industrialist came and tried to cut this Kejri tree, this Bishnoi community people didn't allow, because they considered this plant as a sacred tree. So especially the one woman called Amrita Devi Bishnoi. So there was a woman in their community called Amrita Devi Bishnoi. She, along with the 363 other people, have protested this cutting of the Bishnoi tree, and later the Amrita Devi sacrificed herself during this protest. She died. Okay, so this is one of the example how local people are involved in protecting our forest. So this one of the example you can write. So there was a Bishnoi community. They considered Kejri tree as a sacred. As Kejri tree timber is very much useful for the furniture purpose, when the industrial tried to cut this tree, the lady called Amrita Devi Bishnoi, along with 363 other people, they protested this, and the Amrita Devi Bishnoi has died herself during this protest. So this thing you can write down. So this is about the first stakeholder, that is the local people. So second stakeholder is the forest people or forest officials. So these forest officials, or these people, what they do, they own the forest land, isn't it? Now you can see, for example, if you travel in any area and that area has a strict or that has a thick forest, usually forest officials will be there. They will collect some money, isn't it? Or they will make you to give a pass, and they will tell you have to pass this region within this time by showing this pass. So these people, forest officials, are mainly involved in the protection of forest. They are recruited for that purpose only from the government. But what happens sometimes is this industrialist will contact the forest people, and they make the forest people to allow them to cut some of the tree that is used for the industrial purpose, maybe pine plant or other plant, medicinal plant, isn't it? So what happens, the government or the this forest officials will give the permission to industrialist, and industrialist will cut the tree how much they want. But what happens, they may not plant the new trees, so that leads to deforestation. Okay, one side the forest people will make sure the forest is protected from the human beings, but in other side they also contribute to deforestation by allowing this industrialist to use the forestry how much they want rather than planting the new trees. So third stakeholders is industrialist. So all the industry, they make use of tree as their raw material, will be results in the deforestation purpose, provided if they do not plant new trees, or if they can't plant means they can give same amount of money to the forest officials, then officials can utilize those money for the planting purpose. Then last category of stakeholders is wildlife and nature enthusiasts. So these people are like, they are doing their service voluntarily, isn't it? You may have seen there was a group of people who are fighting or protesting against the wildlife, especially this tiger. Okay, wildlife. So usually there was a group of people who are protecting or preserving our wildlife. Later they thought if wildlife should be exist means we should conserve our forest also or nature also. So there are group of people in our region, they will make a team and they themselves go to the forest, they clean the forest, or they themselves go to the beach siders, they clean the beach, isn't it? So nobody told them to do such things, but they voluntarily go and do the things. So they belongs to this last category of stakeholders, that is wildlife and nature enthusiasts. So they themselves go and do the work that is beneficial for wildlife and nature enthusiasts. So these things you should know. So what is stakeholders of, or who are the stakeholders of forest? So there are 4 categories: local people, forest officials or government forest officials, then industrialist, and wildlife and nature enthusiast. So after writing this, you should explain how they contribute in managing the forest as well as in the deforestation. So in your own words, you can write. So whatever I have explained is everything explained in this 272 and 273 page. Okay. So one of the example I have told, that is how the local people are involved in conserving the forest. Okay, sometimes separate question only they will ask, maybe for 3 marks or 4 marks. Explain the involvement of local people in conserving the forest. So first example, you can take the Bishnoi community and you can write, okay. Second example is second. First example is that Bishnoi community or Bishnoi community. Second one is Chipko Andolan. You may heard this Hug the Tree movement. Where it has occurred, which place? Chipko Andolan or Hug the Tree movement. So it has, this Chipko Andolan has occurred, or Hug the Tree movement has occurred in the highest region of which part? Anybody? You may heard this Chipko Andolan, Hug the Tree movement. No one knows this about this. Himachal Himachal areas, or if you want to particularly tell the name, that is Garhwal. So what happens, the industrialist has come to cut the trees in the regions of Himalaya, and what happens, the village people who lives nearby the forest, they hug the tree so that the industrial cannot cut the trees. Chipko Andolan or Hug the Tree movement that has occurred in the higher region of the Himalaya, or in Garhwal place of Himalaya. So when the industrial came to cut the tree, the villages surrounding the forest hug the tree. Okay. Thereby what happens? Ultimately, the industrial couldn't cut the tree and they went back. So that is one of the example how the local people are contribute to conservation of forest. Next one is Sal forest restoration. Sal forest restoration. Restoration, not restoration, restoration. So in West Bengal, there was a forest called sal forest. Nothing but the trees that present in the throughout the forest was sal tree. Okay, but what happens gradually? This forest has become deforested. All the plant would have cut for the different purpose by different people, and deforestation has occurred. So a man called A.K. Banerjee, okay, A.K. Banerjee, who was living in this sal forest region, A.K. Banerjee, he understood the importance of this sal forest, and along with the local people, he started to protest and try to conserve this sal forest. A.K. Banerjee, along with the local people of the West Bengal, he tried to protect or conserve the sal forest. So later his work is considered by the government and appreciated. Okay, and now if you see, the region has very thick plants of sal forest, and you can find the same sal forest that was there in once upon a time. Same forest you can find. This is one more example for the local people involvement. And last example, you can take the Bishnoi community. So total 3 example you can write if they ask how the local people are involved in conserving the forest. First one is Chipko Andolan. Second one is Sal forest restoration. Last one is Bishnoi community. So you need to explain this. Okay. Next, what is the importance to manage forest? So what is so much importance to maintain the forest? What happens if we do not maintain? So what happens, as you know, it is the spot of biodiversity, isn't it? The different species of plant and animals lives in the forest. To conserve the wildlife, one should protect the forest. Next, what happens? To maintain the ecology system. So in case if there is deforestation, then what happens? The wildlife may extinct. Okay, if one type of wildlife has extinct, then what happens? That may affect the ecology. So if you see the food chain, you will understand how one animal is interconnected to another for their food purpose, isn't it? So if one thing get disturbed, then entire the ecology system is get disturbed. So if the forest conservation is not happen properly or deforestation occurs, then wildlife will be affected. Once the wildlife is affected, then entire ecology gets disturbed. So to maintain the ecology, one should conserve the forest. Then if you do not conserve the forest, then what happens? There will be lack of wood. Okay, because so much of forest product we use, all these things will be vanished, especially the medicine. So many medicinal plants are available in the forest and many are used, isn't it? So if you do not conserve, automatically these all things will be get disturbed. So it is very much essential to conserve the forest or to manage the forest. So they will ask, what is the importance of managing the forest? Or they can ask like this also, what happens if you do not conserve the forest? So whatever you can write in generally, what things you can write, or it is there in the textbook also. Okay. Next concept in this is water for all. So next natural resource, that is water. So water is used by each living organism and it is a basic necessity of our life, isn't it? And you may know around 97.5% of water is ocean water and we cannot use for the drinking purpose as it is a salty water. Then remaining 1.5% of the water is in gaseous form. That also we cannot use for the domestic purpose. Only 0.75% of water is available as a ground water, and that only this percentage of water is used for the domestic purpose. So you can see how less the amount it is. It is only just 0.75%. Out of, if you take 100%, only 0.75% it is useful water for the domestic purpose. So it becomes very important to use it carefully. And in India, you know this water, it is mainly we get in the rainy season or monsoon region in the month of July to September. Okay, if rainfall is not in a proper way, then definitely that year we will suffer from the water scarcity. So it is very much important to conserve this 0.75% of groundwater. So initial days, what happens? People used to use the water unlimited quantity, or they start to pollute the groundwater. And one fine day, what happened? They understood the importance of water. Okay. So by understanding this importance of water, what has happened in the time of British? What happened? They started the projects, that is large dams and canals. So this concept of dam and canal were introduced by the British, okay, British people. So when they arrived, that time itself, we had the water scarcity problem or conservation of water. So their idea is to build large dams and canals. So usually these large dams and canals, they were constructed against the river, isn't it? So large dams and canals are nothing but the reservoir, or they can act as storage tank of water. So you can store gallons of water in these dams, and you can use, for example, this much region, if you have dam, and you can give canal system like this. Okay, so and here will be gate. Okay, once the gate is open, water will be flow through this canal and it can be passed to some other region that is located in far away, maybe kilometers far away. So reservoir will be in one place. Okay, and water will be passed to some other region. So you can build a dam in one region and you can pass the water to another region where the people do not get enough water. Okay, dams and canals. So this system was introduced by the British. So if you want to list out the advantages of constructing this dam, means one is irrigation of the agriculture. So even if you don't have a proper rainfall in that year, the whatever water is stored in the dam can be utilized for the agriculture purpose. That is the one of the use of the dam. Next one is you can utilize the water of the dam for the generation of electricity. Then you can build a canal like this for a dam, and you can make the water to flow to a larger surface area or to the place it is very far away from the dam where the water is not available for the agriculture purpose. So these are the few of the advantages of the dam. By constructing the dam, you can use the water for the agriculture purpose. We can generate the electricity, and also you can make the water to flow to a region it is very far away from your dam. Same time, the dam also has some of the disadvantages. So this disadvantages is categorized in three things, three category: social, economical, and environment. So these three categories are the disadvantages of dam. So what is this social disadvantage or social problem that has occurred because of the dam? As you know, dam, if you have seen the dam, it is very large. It has occupies several hectares of region, isn't it? Several hectares of region will be utilized for the construction of dam. So when the government plans this construction of the dam in a particular region, there will be people who used to live in those regions. So those people has to vacate the region, isn't it? And sometime what happens, government will assure we will give 3 lakhs for each family. But what happens ultimately, these people will move from the region, they may not get the money, isn't it? They leave their house, land, everything for the purpose of construction of dam, but ultimately they are not going to get anything. So it will cause the problem for the local people who are living in the region that is planned for the construction of dam. Then economical problem. So what happens? Sometimes when they plan for a construction of dam, that region maybe has very good forest, or that region was a good forest. So what they will do? They will cut the tree and then construct the dam. So it leads to deforestation in that particular region. So as I told earlier, deforestation will disturb the wildlife and it disturb the ecology also. Then economical. So economical means construction of dam, it is takes lots of money, isn't it? So many crores of money is required for the construction of the dam. So whatever the tax we will pay, everything will be utilized for the construction of the dam. Rather than using for the other purpose, every money will goes for this construction of the dam. Then last one is environment. So in the environmental, you can write whatever I said previously, that is disturbance of ecology. So ecology get disturbed. How? By cutting the tree, they will construct the dam. By this, wildlife will be disturbed and it eventually disturb the ecology system. So these three are the disadvantages of dam. So you should know in this what are dams, okay, what are their advantages and what are their disadvantages. So dams are nothing but the large storage or reservoir of the water. This concept is introduced by the British, okay. Then you have to write the advantages, then you have to write the disadvantages. And you may have, there will be so many opposition for the construction of dam. Any example you remember? So one of the example here they have given Narmada Bachao Andolan. Okay. So against the river Narmada, the government has decided to construct a dam, but lots of people has opposed this, and it is called as Narmada Bachao Andolan. Or one more example is Theri Dam on the river Ganga. So the government has planned to construct a dam called Tehri Dam against the river Ganga. So this also lead into the huge protest. What is the reason means lot of people used to live nearby the region where the government has planned to construct the dam. So they started to protest and they have given the name, okay, that is Narmada Bachao Andolan, then Tehri Dam on the river Ganga. Sometime they will ask, so that time you can write this. Okay. So next concept is water harvesting technique. So what is this water harvesting technique? So as you know, the dams are one side they are has many disadvantages, they also has disadvantages. So before introducing this dam technique by the British, the Indians used to have different water harvesting techniques. So this is a traditional technology that helps to improve the groundwater. Okay, so usually it is used by the Indians before introducing the concept of dam, and even now you can see this different types of water harvesting techniques. So water harvesting technique is nothing but conservation of water in a smaller area, not like dams. Dams means it will be in so many hectares or kilometer region. Here they will start to conserve the water in a very smaller area. So this conserved water will be absorbed by the soil and groundwater level will be increased. So groundwater level means what? What is the meaning of this groundwater? Groundwater.
Water present under the crust, Earth's crust.
Yeah, correct. So if you see the dams and all, it is made up of concrete. They do not increase your groundwater level. Only you can just store the water. So it is nothing but you are storing the water in a tank. Same way, it is stored in very large area. That's it. They do not increase the groundwater level. But this traditional water harvest technique is made with the intention to increase the groundwater level. So they will store the water in a smaller area. This water will be absorbed by the soil. Thereby it increases the groundwater level. So if you increase the groundwater, what happens? If you have wells or nearby river, what happens? There the level of water is going to increase. For example, you consider here you have some mountain region. Water or rain will fall and it will travel down, isn't it? So what people will do, they will make one dome shaped thing, or they will put the soil, everything like this nearby the mountain region, and they will make like this dome shaped structure. So whatever water falls on the mountain will flow in this region, and they will make one particular pit or pond, so that water will be collected. Whatever water is there, everything will be collected in this small pit or pond. So the collected water will be later absorbed into the ground. So what happens? The ground or the soil, so the groundwater level will be increased. And consider nearby this region you have a well or you have a river. So automatically the level of water in this well or river is going to increase, because here the level of water is increased, the groundwater level is increased. So this was the technique. Okay, or it is also known as water shed. Watershed technique. Okay, so in India, different parts of region, the people will used to have this water harvesting technique or water shed technique, and it is called by different names. So in Rajasthan, this technique is called as Kardins, tanks and Nadins. Same technique it is called in Maharashtra as Bandaras and Tals. Then Bundis in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, Ahars and pines in Bihar, then Kuls in Himachal Pradesh, ponds in the Kandi belt of Jammu region, Rees in Tamil Nadu, Suranga in Kerala, and Katta in Karnataka. So at least these two terms you might know, Suranga and Katta. If anyone has small kind of river, or usually in Kannada we call it as Todu. So when we are small, what happens in the April month or May month, usually in the summer vacation, we used to build this kattas. Anyone has did this thing? Katta kattudu todige kallella ittu we used to make a small watershed, or at least you have heard this term Katta and Suranga. Nobody?
Yes.
Yes, adanne water harvesting technique anta heludu. So different parts of India make use of same concept, but the name whatever they have given, it is different. Okay, Kardins Nandi anta Rajasthanadalli ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಪೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಹಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಿಹಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಬುಂದೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಧ್ಯಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸುರಂಗ ಅಂತ ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಟ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಒಂದೇ, ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್. ಈ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಮೂಲಕ ದೇ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಅ ವಾಟರ್ ಶೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಕೇಮ್, ದೇ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ in ancient time itself, we have the plans for the preservation of water by water harvesting techniques. Okay, ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. So what are the different water harvesting technique? So you can write this thing. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರಿತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಕಟ್ಟದವರೆಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಡಿನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅಂಡ್ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಕಾರ್ಡಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಹೀಗೆ ಅವರು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹೈಯರ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಟರ್ ಫಾಲ್ ಆದದನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ಹೀಗೆ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರ್ಡಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುದು. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕಟ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅವರು ಹೀಗೆ ಗೋಡೆಯ ಹಾಗೆ, ಆರ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ವಾಲ್. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್, and gradually this water will be absorbed by the soil. And if you have nearby well, there the level of water will be increased. Or ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ರೀಜನ್ ನ ನಿಯರ್ ಬೈ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಗ್ you can dig the soil and make small pit. ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಇಂಗು ಗುಂಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಇತ್ತು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗು ಗುಂಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಮನಿ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಇಂಗು ಗುಂಡಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ತರಾನೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಅ ಪಿಟ್. ಸೊ ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ತುಂಬುತ್ತದೆ and gradually it will be absorbed by the soil. So ultimately increase the level of ground water. ಸೊ ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೀತಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ I'll take 2 to 3 minutes. Last part is in this. What are the difference between this dams ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್? ಸೊ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಏನು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅದು ಕಾಂಕ್ರೀಟ್, ವಾಟರ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ವಾಟರ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇವಾಪರೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ ಇಂದಾಗಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಇವಾಪರೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು. ಮತ್ತೆ they provide breeding of mosquito. ಸೊ ನಿಂತ ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮಾಸ್ಕಿಟೋ ಬ್ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಲ್ಲ. ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ನೀರು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕೂಡ ಹೋಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ರೆ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಬ್ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕಿಟೋ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಕಂಟಾಮಿನೇಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಮೇ ಗೆಟ್ ಕಂಟಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ if something has accidentally fall down or somebody has put something into the water, then so much of water or water present in throughout the dam get contaminated, then it becomes waste. So these are all the few of the disadvantages of dam, where these things will not be occurs in your water harvesting techniques. Now the water harvesting technique, the water collected will be absorbed, so there will be no storage of water on the surface of the ground. So mosquito breed agua chances illa. Then no chances of water contamination, isn't it? Groundwater will not be get contaminated because it is present inside the soil. Then water evaporation agua problem kuda illa, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? And it increases the groundwater level. That cannot happen in the dam system. So this they will ask sometime. So what is the benefit of water harvesting techniques over the dam? So that time you should write all these things. Then one more small concept, it is coal and petroleum, one more natural resource. So as all of you know, coal and petroleum, it is considered as fossil fuel, hauda? So decaying ಅಥವಾ dead plants ಮತ್ತೆ animal beings, ಅದು ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ದು millions ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ದು later they will be converted into coal and petroleum. And you know how much the human beings are dependent on the coal and petroleum product. The coal ಮತ್ತೆ petroleum products ಗೆ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ you can write it, no need to explain. So how many machines or vehicles, many industries, okay, to generate the electricity, so many things we are dependent on this coal and petroleum, and it becomes very important to maintain this coal and petroleum. So how one can maintain this coal and petroleum? Simple agi, sorry ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, take a bus using your personal vehicle or walking cycle, using LED bulb and fluorescent tubes in your homes, using lift and taking the stairs, wearing an extra sweater or using heating device ಅಥವಾ heater on a cold days. ಇದು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅವರು 4-5 ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟದ್ದು. ನೀವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬರಿಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಕೋಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಯಂ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗೆ ವಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಬಸ್ ರಾದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ vehicle. For example, Aditya, Namrata, Pawan Kumar and me all are going one same family function. So rather than going in 4 cars, Nana family, Namratana family, Bhumika family, separate car alli hogokinda we can take one bus and go together. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ 4 ಕಾರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುವ ಫ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಒಂದು ಬಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ. ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದಿ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ರಾದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇರ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಸೊ ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ರಾದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೇರ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So rather than using the heater in the cold days, you can wear 2-3 sweaters, extra sweater hakobodu. So other than this, whatever comes to your mind, that things you can read. Ide agbekante enilla, nimige ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬರಿಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಈ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಯಂ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಹೌದಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ this carbon dioxide is produced when the coal products are burned in sufficient amount of oxygen. So coal product ide, okay, coal product I will write as C, and in presence of sufficient oxygen, if you burn them, then the gas that is produced is carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, ಅಥವಾ it is results in greenhouse effect. ಅದೇನಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ ಇಫ್ ದಿ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋ ಕಂಬಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಇನ್ಸಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್, ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಮೊನಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪಾಯ್ಸನಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್. ಇನ್ಹೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ so many health problems you are going to get. Okay, so in either way it is harmful for the environment only. Carbon products sufficient amount of oxygen ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕಂಬಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬರ್ನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಸಫಿಶಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗಲಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಮೊನಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ harmful gas. So this greenhouse effect anta helidre, in the environment carbon dioxide CO2 ಮತ್ತೆ methane ಆಯ್ತಾ, methane gas, next oxides of nitrous, the nitrous oxide, next water vapor H2O. So they can lead to this greenhouse effect. So greenhouse effect means what? You have earth like this and you have sun, then space will be there. Okay, so whatever the heat radiation that is received by the earth will be reflected back into the space. Usually it happens like this. But when you have very high levels of these gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, they capture these radiations. So whatever the radiation will be emitted from the sun will be captured here itself. They will not escape back into the space. So gradually the temperature on the surface of the earth is increased, so resulting the increased temperature. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುದು. ಸೊ ಅರ್ಥಿನ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ರೇಸ್ ಆಗುದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಹೀಟ್ ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹೀಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಆಟೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲಿ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ increased. And as all of you know, the year by year the temperature of the earth has been increased. So in summer season, last summer season ಗಿಂತ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಈ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಸೀಸನ್ ಗಿಂತ ಈ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಈಚ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನೋ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈವನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫೆಲ್ಟ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸೆಕೆ ಇತ್ತು ಈ ವರ್ಷ. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಇಷ್ಟಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಹೀಗೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಮೇ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನೇಮ್ ದ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ರೀಸನ್? ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್, ಮೀಥೇನ್, ವಾಟರ್ ವೇಪರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೈಟ್ರಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮುಗೀತು. ಸೊ ವೆರಿ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ಸಮರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So management of natural resources. ಈ chapter ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have studied what is natural resources, what is their importance to conserve. Okay, next we studied about the 5 R's. If you follow the 5 R's, definitely you can conserve or you can contribute little amount for the conservation of this natural resource. Then we have studied about the wildlife, forest and wildlife. Okay. So forest wildlife ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, what is the importance of forest or conserving the forest we studied. Then we studied who are the stakeholders, how they help for the conservation forest, at the same time how they results in deforestation ಅಂತ. Okay, ಮತ್ತೆ how the local people are involved in conservation of forest. With the example we have studied this. Next we studied the water for all. Okay, ಈ ವಾಟರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ದೆನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ನಾವು ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕೋಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಯಂ. ಸೊ ಕೋಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಯಂನ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಒನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ದ ನೆಸೆಸರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್. So what the things you know that you can write. So hope ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. Okay, so this chapter is very easy, ಮತ್ತೆ generalized ಆಗಿದೆ. So whatever you understood you can write in your own terms. If it is not a definition ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. Otherwise, if it is explanatory type of question, you can write it in your own way. And usually indirect questions ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಕೇಳುದು ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ. Few questions will be asked directly, remaining all they are indirectly. You have to think after reading this chapter. They will ask the question such that you have to apply. So ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಓದಿತೀರ ಅದು ಯಾವ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಗೆ ಸೂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ವರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ 1-2-3 ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್, ಸೊ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವುದು ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ನೀವು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್, take a photo of this, convert into PDF and upload in the Google Classroom. Okay, so by tomorrow evening 7 PM you can complete this. Seven PM tomorrow. Okay, ಒಂದು 11 ಗಂಟೆ ಒಳಗೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ದಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್.